Thank you for listening. I'm very excited. Our guest today has been here before. She's a friend of the show, former guest Mandi Lunan, also happens to be a food business coach. And that is what you're here to talk to us about today, Mandi. Someone just took a screenshot. Who
I
did that?
know. It was a horrible screenshot too. Fuck off, John.
I'm trying to do an intro. Okay, so many people listening to this probably know Mandi. She is now a food business coach, but she has many years in the food business. For many years, she ran Anti-Loose Treats, Ottawa staple. Still holds fond memories for many of us, Mandi. But now, as a small business food coach, is that the right way to say that? Food business coach. It's a mouthful. You have helped over 150 small food businesses navigate this whole new world. And I say that pun intended because it's a whole new world now with coronavirus, right?
Definitely. So it's like one of my personal heroes, Dolly Parton, says you can't direct the wind, but you can definitely adjust your sails. So that's where
Amen.
we are right now.
Well, and I think the restaurant industry, especially because a lot of it is small business, has
Mhm.
been hit exceptionally hard. Not just the owners, but you also have people that are career servers and
Definitely.
career bartenders. And, they need a lot of support right now.
Yeah, and definitely like with the government mandate to shut down all dining rooms and all gatherings last week, something I completely agree with. Let the record show. Like it's more about community safety right now, and I totally agree with that. But it all of a sudden just bumped everybody out of work. It's created a lot of problems for business owners, I'm sure, as you can imagine. So they've been either adjusting their sales. Some of them have been, paralyzed with fear because it was just so abrupt and it was so sudden. So everybody's trying to adjust in their own weird ways. So we're seeing people who would have never done delivery before start to do delivery. A lot of the restaurants now, what we're seeing is they're slowly converting themselves into community-oriented grocery stores because
Oh,
they can order in produce, right? So there's a big restaurant out in Brockville who's doing that right now. There's 3 people in Ottawa who are thinking about doing it and getting in other artisanal products so that way they can support the other small makers of like ice cream, bread, coffee beans, have it all in one place and offer a curbside pickup convenience to people or a contactless delivery program. So we're seeing that slowly develop now too.
well, and since this has been a while now, well, it feels like a year, but since it has been a while, there's a lot of restaurants too that have food that's bordering on expiration. And it's like, we don't want that food to go to waste, not right now. So donate, I'm sure a lot are donating to the food bank.
Definitely. And the food bank's been having a really hard time of it as well too. So they're probably like one of the most hard hit up right now. So a lot of the restaurants who chose just to close completely have given their other things to either restaurants who are staying open or to the food bank.
Right.
One of the things that I'm afraid of is germs. And you see a lot of people using Uber Eats and, ordering takeout. And thank God a lot of restaurants are able to still maintain their takeout service. But what are some of the ways that restaurants are sanitizing things?
Definitely. So, I know by now we've all seen the memes and we're all super sick of getting our 15 paragraphs of the steps that so and so's taking, the blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But like up until a week before a lot of the restaurants closed, they were doing small things like not putting the condiments and the flatware and the glasses on the table until the guest had been seated to ensure that there was no contact from anybody else. Doorknobs being wiped down, spray bottles in the bathroom so you can spray the doorknob before you leave the bathroom, that kind of thing. What we're seeing now, and it's been a joke in the chef community, is we've been coughing into our elbows for years. Like they teach you that in culinary school. Like we're the OGs of all these preventative measures, right? So that's still happening, but as well too, you know what I mean? We're seeing more diligent hand washing, more hand sanitizing, more wiping, more that kind of stuff happening.
I'm sure some of them are wearing masks too.
Definitely, but again, the effectiveness of the mask on somebody who's perfectly healthy and whatnot is still up for debate.
Right.
I've seen a lot of more articles from reliable sources saying that they're ineffective. There's really only a point in wearing the mask if you do have COVID-19 and you are going to pass it on. And somebody like that wouldn't be working in a kitchen right now. They would be expected to disclose to their employers. A lot of employers are saying, don't come to work if you're not well, even if you don't know if it's COVID-19, just stay home.
But that's understandable. However, a lot of people don't show symptoms. So I think if you have the ability to put masks on as a preventative measure, not only that, but I think you'll make the people that are ordering food and picking it up feel a little bit at ease.
Definitely. And I live right at downtown Ottawa on Elgin Street, and the Elgin Street diner is 24/7, 365 still. Let it be shown when the apocalypse comes, there'll be cockroaches and ESD. But I've seen a lot of the Skip the Dishes drivers, and they all have masks on running in and out of ESD. Now, I don't know if that's something that was implemented by Skip itself, but I have noticed that Skip the Dishes drivers in particular are wearing masks and gloves.
Good. And I'm sure it helps those making deliveries feel a little bit more at ease too.
Definitely. And I hope that when all of this is over, we'll definitely be taking a harder look at our frontline workers and the people who provide services like this, who make a pittance, and ensure that like the next time that minimum wage debate comes up, shut up. Have all the seats. You know? Like give them more money, because really, like, it's our servers, it's our cooks, it's our delivery people, it's our grocery store workers who are really on the front lines right now.
It's true.
Yeah.
This whole thing has turned the world upside down. So I do hope there will be those changes afterwards. We're going to have to change everything, I think.
Yeah.
Just before we move on from delivery, because we want to support the businesses, especially locally, that are still offering takeout. Is there anything that people should do when they get takeout home to extra sanitize it? Or are you, confident that the businesses are taking precautions?
I'm confident that a lot of the big delivery services are taking precautions as well too. I advised on a little project here locally called Love Local Delivery. So it's all local restaurants paired up by neighborhoods. They've paired up with a chauffeur service here in Ottawa called Responsible Choice. So Responsible Choice, if you have a huge gathering, they'll drive intoxicated people's cars home for them with the people in the cars, and then the cars at your house, and you're safe. So they've teamed up with Responsible Choice. So those are professional drivers who understand the importance of hygiene and that kind of thing, who are delivering local restaurants' products. And the difference between them and everybody else is that Love Local doesn't take a cut, whereas Uber Eats and folks like that will take 30%. Usually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's, for some people, it doesn't even make it financially viable for them to offer that delivery, even though on the surface it would seem like they should be offering delivery right now. That's why some people aren't, because it's such a high fee. Even though I noticed last night, I got a notification that Uber Eats now has a $0 delivery fee to folks. Great. But I don't think that means that they're cutting back on what they're taking from the restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about if you are a small business offering delivery? Do you believe in opting into one of these subscription services like Skip the Dishes, or having your own designated delivery person?
I usually advise that. So with Skip the Dishes and things like that, your reach is going to be larger. So that's always a good thing. However, you can't guarantee the quality of the service and the person who's delivering the food. I always tell my clients that it's better to hire in-house, because when you're signing somebody's paycheck, they're loyal to you. You can train them to be the face of your brand and hold up to your standards. Whereas whenever you're employing a third party, you lose that kind of control. So I personally believe also, to half of our population, I think they said 50% of Canadians lost their jobs. Guys, give somebody a job, for Christ's sake. If you can give somebody a job, give somebody a job right now. Like, my goodness,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenna, you just had your hand up. You want to be a Responsible Choice driver?
Well, I mean, as of Monday, I am unemployed, so.
I'm sorry, honey.
But I work in the event industry.
Yeah.
Our industry's literally banned. And, as of right now, it's a 90-day layoff. But there's a good chance that it's going to be permanent, because we don't know how our economy is going to rebound. We don't know how this is going to change the behaviors of the way people go and enjoy things. Yeah. And that's what I want to ask you, too, is how do you see this changing the future of the restaurant industry once everything kind of goes back to normal? Mm-hmm. How do you see the restaurant industry changing?
Well, a trend that was happening before this that I could see recirculating and becoming even more trendy afterwards is the private chef option. So a lot of people have been hiring chefs to come to their homes, like their favorite chefs, to cook for them and 5 or 6 of their friends for an intimate experience, a curated menu. You get to look she because you had a chef come to your home, and that's pretty great. It's good for the chef as well, too, because they're able to cook for smaller meals and have more appreciation and that kind of stuff. I could see that becoming more popular because you can control the sanitation of your own home rather than being in a dining room with 60 or 70 people. You know what I mean? As well as to definitely more like live events. So I was noticing that a lot of chefs are doing live events and blogging openly now about how to use up things in your fridge, how to use up food waste, little things like saving the odds and bobs from your vegetables and throwing them into the freezer and cooking a broth. Something that a lot of people might not think of. But now that we're trying to conserve food, with what's happening with Trump right now too, that could make us very food insecure. I know, right? It keeps me up at night. Thank God, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, Trudeau's not quick enough to pull the gun. I would rather have a mild-mannered like Mr. Rogers scolding me at 11 a.m. every morning, than this nut.
Right.
But if Trump ends up doing something to the border, that could really affect our food security as well. So I've seen 2 more initiatives with farmers and people talking a lot more about producing our own food locally and supporting our own local folks. So that could definitely change as well too, rather than going to the grocery store and all the berries are from Mexico or whatever. You know what I mean? We could see more greenhouses, more hydroponics, not just for pot. You know what I mean? Like that coming through, I think, perhaps going forward.
Well, there's going to be a lot of those changes. I mean, it's like I was saying before, everything's going to be different after this. And I don't think the food industry is going to be any different.
Definitely. We are witnessing history.
We are. And it's crazy, though. You mentioned like how we might see a rise in local fruits and vegetables. But like that just makes me feel kind of happy. Like you see these stupid stories about the dolphins back in the Rideau Canal again. And it's just so heartwarming that the environment has benefited from this already. It's a nice way to find the silver lining.
Definitely. Absolutely.
As long as we all survive.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's just bonus, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you think this is going to help with having more the farmers markets? Sorry.
Definitely. But again, like when we think about the farmers markets and people supporting local, it's awesome, but congregation, right? Like now we're all being trained. Congregation is very, very bad. So I'm not sure what the farmers market is going to look like this season, or if it's even going to be able to happen. If we're going to have these local people taking on, like I said, the artisanal grocery store based out of the restaurant where it's ordered online, perhaps that'll be our future farmers market. Perhaps for the rest of 2020, it's going to be a virtual farmers market where everybody's there online. You select your items and they're delivered via a contactless delivery, or, you know what I mean, by you going and doing a curbside collection. But I think that we might not see those congregations for the rest of the year at this time.
And living in Ottawa, we see it every day. Like if you live downtown like I do and you do, Mandi, we see it every time we go to the market.
Yeah.
You see these farmers that wake up at the ass crack of dawn every day and come down with their beautiful, gorgeous produce. And, I can't help but think, what is going to happen to a lot of them? Are they going to lose their farms?
Yes.
How are they? Because a lot of them are old school.
Yep. Yeah.
They're.
Yeah. And like the sad part is, it sounds, not everybody's going to make, let's be real. Not everybody's going to make this through. Not every business is going to make this through. A big issue that's been happening is that everybody who had their business interruption insurance, since SARS happened, they've included a clause. So the pandemic is not covered. So imagine you've paid $200 a month for the past 15 years. So that way you're safe in case something awful happens and you can't run your business. And then when you go to cash in your chips, we all know how much insurance companies don't actually like to pay out. Not a single person, guys, not a single person has gotten from their insurance. I'm part of a group right now out of Toronto where we're going to be trying to hold the government and the insurance companies liable after this, whenever everything is completed. Because it's really not fair to the folks who have worked so hard. As a result of this, a lot of people, high numbers, you know what I mean? 25 to 30%. And that's me being conservative, will probably lose their businesses. And then after the first year, because the other issue that's happening right now is folks are coming through and saying, oh, don't worry, we have this fancy loan for you. I'm allowed to swear on this podcast, right?
Fuck yeah.
The last fucking thing an entrepreneur needs is another goddamn loan. The average entrepreneur has like $30,000 minimum in debt, at least. The last thing we need is another loan. Come back when you have grants. Come back when you have, free money for us, for Christ's sake. It's just awful. Like all the businesses all the banks keep acting like they're really helping folks out, and it's really not helpful. We don't need another loan. And what will happen is whenever the economy, or whenever people are allowed to reopen, rather, they'll be liable for those loans. And it's going to be, like we just said, a whole new world. We don't know. It's not going to be the same as before with people pouring through the door. So people could be on the hook for those loans. We're going to see more bankruptcies and more problems and more broken businesses.
And those that do accept the loans, heaven forbid we see what the interest is going to be on those loans.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that the bank will pocket a very tidy profit for themselves from that. And that's been another point of criticism I've seen going around online too with business owners.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, because it's unprecedented. The banks don't know what the hell to do. Business owners don't know what the hell to do. Like Jenna knows from the events world, and me from, being a comedian, we just had to cancel Queer Sphere. And in going through all those hoops, we realized a lot of venues don't have virus written into their contract. Performers don't include pandemics when it comes to cancellation and refunds. So it's like it's a whole new world. We keep saying it, but it's like nobody knows. After this, maybe viruses and pandemics will be included in contracts and insurance clauses.
Yeah, hopefully. It could be worse. Could be getting married this year, right?
Oh, I know.
I feel awful for people who are getting married this year. And I work with a lot of cake decorators and venue folks and catering, and it's just been a nightmare.
Oh gosh, caterers. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
So after that, I think we need to talk about what everyone wants to know. First of all, are you going to bring back your little bakery on Facebook Live and do a little cooking and whipping some stuff up?
I was thinking about chucking out a couple recipes to cheer people up. It's not a terrible idea, so who knows?
The whoopie pies.
But it's really hard to get flour and chocolate right now, guys. So like the baking supplies are depleting. So
that's right.
We'll see. Do I do that for my own vanity, or do I save it for somebody's sweet little no-no who just wants to make a loaf of bread?
Right. I think it depends on what you do with those whoopie pies.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? If you go out and give them to, like, deliver some to our healthcare workers,
yeah,
you're doing it for a good purpose and to try to, like, spread some cheer around, I don't know. Are they doing this in Ottawa right now? Because I'm here in Vancouver. But at 7 p.m. every night, everyone goes out on their balcony and starts cheering and screaming, and it's for healthcare workers who are doing a shift change.
The city of Ottawa proposed it, and nobody's doing it. I saw it on Twitter, but nobody's, they call us the city that fun forgot for a reason. So
yeah, I saw on the news they were encouraging people to do it at 6:30 here, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, I have a video.
Nothing.
Sorry, you guys cut out there. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm right on Elgin Street, and I haven't heard anything. So
right. Yeah. My friend works in an ER in a hospital, and she sent me a video of last night. I'm gonna get really weepy here. Last night, all the ambulances and the fire trucks and the RCMP drove around the hospital with their sirens on. And oh my God, why am I doing this?
That's okay. It's a weird time. It's a
weird.
It is.
No, but
let it out.
People think Jenna is such a icy cold bitch, and although that's true most of the time, when it comes to medical stuff, you have a very personal connection to the whole nursing community. What is that?
Oh, well, a lot of people have heard this on this episode, but my mom just retired about a month ago. She was a triage nurse. My grandma was a nurse, both my grandmothers and my aunt. So, it does hit closer to home. And I have friends that work in the healthcare industry, and you just know the amount of stress that they're going through. And I think you just feel awful because you can't do anything. I have my mom sitting here talking about maybe going back to work. She's 65 years old. Yeah. Like, that's terrifying to me, right? But that's the healthcare mentality is put everything aside and don't be selfish and just do your job and help out.
My nurse?
Nice. Right.
My little sister's a nurse.
Oh, exactly. Good. I love nurses.
Yeah, same.
I have so much respect for them. And you see these pictures of them with the bruises from the masks and everything, but they're still going in every day. Fuck yeah, I love nurses.
Yeah.
Right. So since you are and everyone's at home and there's so many people that love food and they could talk about it all day, every day, do you suggest any accounts, social media accounts for people to follow to keep themselves entertained? Like you mentioned someone was telling people how to use all the ingredients in their cupboard, like the chickpeas that in there for a year.
Local journalist here, Paula Roy, who writes Constantly Cooking and writes for Ottawa Magazine. She's been doing an amazing series of using up things in your pantry. So this morning, I think it was chickpeas. Yesterday, it was lentils. The day before it was cabbage. And that's kind of what I've been doing too. I'm buying up a lot of root vegetables because they keep for so long and they're so easy to prepare. Like you can fry up some cabbage. I just had roasted beets at lunchtime today with a little bit of goat cheese and some toasted pumpkin seeds, just nice, simple, easy, comforting food.
Well, and the more we encourage people to use those things in the back of their pantries, the less they're going out to get what they need for dinner every day.
Exactly. Also, another one I super duper love is Smitten Kitchen as well. She does some really, really excellent stuff. So it's just really easy to follow, really delicious, good, inviting recipes, things you actually want to eat. Not, whatever.
I love that what you just had for lunch. Like, that's such a comforting meal, but it's still healthy.
Yeah.
What was it again? Pumpkin seeds, roasted beets, and goat cheese. Hello.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah.
And, I think that's important because a lot of us are craving comfort foods, but a lot of us go for cakes and pies and chips and cookies, and that just makes you feel worse.
Oh, don't. I'm not holier than thou. I had KD yesterday for lunch.
Did you have hot dogs in it, though? That's the question.
Exactly. Good old-fashioned comfort food.
Okay, well, I was trying to say eat comfort food that has some nutritional value like Mandi's lunch, but forget it.
Well, KD actually has a lot of protein. So, shockingly, if you look at the side of the box, shockingly. But yeah, we cook more like natural, nice things and like cooking meals and sitting down together to like eat the meal together, even though what the hell can you talk about when you spent the whole day together? But
Tiger King, that's what everybody's talking about.
Right? Every time I was like, this can't get any crazier. Kabam!
Oh, it's so good. I want a series like that now just on Carol Baskin. I keep petitioning for that because I want to know more about her. She's cuckoo and she's still working.
She is, hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was like, this woman is crazy. Like, she definitely fed her husband to the tigers.
They asked her and she started laughing. I was like, she did it. She's laughing.
Right.
Totally.
I just started the podcast, and I highly suggest listening to the podcast that's put on by Wondery, who does amazing jobs with podcasts. And because it goes like a lot more into them and their history, where it began, and it's just a lot more in depth than the special.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does that mean we might get a show about S-Town next? Remember that podcast?
Let's hope so.
Mandi, if you've never listened to that one's a doozy. It's like Tiger King, but a podcast called S-Town.
Okay. I'm more of a Babysitter's Club kind of girl, but have you listened to that one?
Any suggestions for people to help out the restaurant industry before we let you go? Just
Definitely.
How you can do your part to help keep everybody afloat, even if you don't have much money yourself right now.
For sure. So things you can do is, order food from them, especially if there's something like Love Local Delivery, or if you see that your restaurant is doing their own private delivery service, call them and order from them because they'll get a lot more of your money if you can afford to do that. A lot of people have been saying buying the gift cards too. That's also helpful, especially if your restaurant is still open and functioning. Just be supportive, sharing things on Facebook. I know it sounds so cliche, but just taking a minute to share their menu through your social media channels and to encourage people to order from them as well. Checking in on your local artisans. So the people who make the bread, the people who make the honey and the kombucha, your favorite local microbreweries, are they delivering? Can they deliver to you? The Ontario government yesterday just waived everything, so restaurants are allowed to deliver drinks. Isn't that?
Oh, whoa, yeah. What?
Yeah, you can. So whenever you order now, you can order a marg to go with your tacos, and it will come to your house. They've waived everything until the end of August, I believe. So this is good because it will save people from going out to the LCBO. Now, granted, you're going to pay a premium, but it still keeps people out of the lineups at the LCBO, and that's really cool.
Well, it's nice. Like if you're craving like a date night with your boyfriend, significant other, whoever that you've been locked up with forever and you can't go anywhere, you can kind of create your own little date night. You can order from that Italian restaurant that you guys love and get that bottle of wine that you love. Set a little table with some candles. Yeah. One thing leads to another. Boom, boom. Quarantine is born in 9 months.
Quarantines for 15 years from now.
Right. It always tastes better when someone else makes it anyway.
Totally.
But you know what? I love that you said that, Mandy. And I love that they're doing those little things that they can to help keep those small guys afloat, because you know how popular local shit has become in the past like 5 years. Everybody wants to support artisans. And then this virus comes and shuts them all down. So, if we don't keep them afloat at the end of this, Coca-Cola is going to run the world.
Definitely. But at the same time, I'm mildly annoyed to see campaigns like the one our city of Ottawa has right now, where it's telling people to go buy local, because it shouldn't fall to the 50% of Canadians who just lost their jobs to support these businesses. We should be seeing more initiatives from our local, provincial, and federal governments with more cash influx, more money coming through, and more support coming through. I don't really feel like it should fall to the general population, because everybody's holding tight to their wallet right now, and I don't blame them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, then a personal question. Have you been afraid of your food coaching business? Because I imagine for a lot of restaurants, the first thing to go would be an advisor.
Yep. So I have lost about half of my contracts. I also, too, do a lot of events like Jenna, but like for food-based and chef events and stuff like that. So it's really hacked into some of my income. I'm going to be able to float through. I'm planning to launch my webinars, which I wasn't really going to launch until like late spring, summertime. I'm going to be launching them a lot sooner and a lot more lower production level, just to get them out there, and also so I can do them at a cheaper price so people can afford them, to help train those who are still trying to stay in it, or people who are, maybe lost their job and are like, hey, I guess I'll open up that thing I always wanted to whenever this is all over, because I just, looked my own death in the face. A lot of people are really reevaluating their priorities right now. So I might be taping some webinars and doing things like that. And seeing whatever I can do. But yeah, no, it definitely did affect me. I've been giving a lot of advice for free, though. There's a lot of people who are frightened and upset right now. Been taking a lot of phone calls from a lot of scared entrepreneurs and working hard on my activism.
Well, that's important. And if I was a food business, I would definitely be keeping you on, because you are very talented at calming people down. We were chatting earlier this week and I was like, can you believe it, Mandy? It's the end of the world. And she's like, Kate, it wouldn't go that far. Jesse, calm down. I was like, okay, thank you for talking me off the ledge. Jenna has to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Don't worry. And I was definitely there about a week and a half ago. I was like, it's all over. But, took a few days to think it through and calm myself down. And all we can do right now is just take it one gentle day at a time and see what's going to happen next.
And this has been kind of my mantra throughout this whole ordeal. And I think a lot of people can also apply it, because it is a very stressful time. But you cannot waste your energy, and stress is bad for your health too. You can't waste it on things you cannot control.
Yeah.
Right.
So this pandemic, you cannot control. It is completely out of our hands. If you're unemployed, you're not the only one. There's millions of people that are unemployed right now, and you can't take your energy and use it for something positive.
Definitely. There's a great Instagram account called The Brain Coach. And her content the past week has just been incredible. And she kind of said what you just said about, here's what you can control today. If you get up, if you dress, if you bathe, if you exercise, here's what you can't control. What's going to happen to the economy? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And it's really just nice for reflection. For me, especially, it keeps me calm.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But you know what is in our hands? Sanitizer and soap, bitch. That's right.
And gin.
And gin.
I had miso soup in here. Yep, I'm back in Vancouver, that's for sure.
So, Mandy, where can people find you on social media?
Definitely. I'm at foodbusinesscoach.com. On social media, I'm at Mandi Lunan. Just search my name and everything will come up on the Insta, on the Twitter, on the Facebook, all that good stuff. I'm planning on doing some live things, maybe next month when everybody else has stopped going live, because everybody's bored with it, right? Like, I know you're a Drag Race fan too, so like it's like every day I have like 10 queens going live, and I'm like, okay, girls, like super excited, but at the same time, okay, like.
Well, and in my world too, a lot of comedians are doing it, and it's like, okay, we're learning pretty quick who's a comedian and who isn't. That's why I haven't done it. I'm like, I refuse. Although,
right? Just because you can go live don't mean you should. It's like, oh, yeah.
That's right. And anyways, Jenna and I have been doing it since it's before it was cool. We've been doing this for like 5 years going live, so
Yeah.
been there, done that.
Both hats.
Yes. I really do hope that when this is over, that it changes a little bit of the landscape of Ottawa's food industry. We have a lot of big box restaurants, and I hope that going forward, they start to lower rent and dedicate certain areas to small local cuisine. Spark Street's my biggest example. It's such a wonderful place, but it's dead, and everybody says it's dead. And I go, that's because all you have is a few big box restaurants, and the rent's so high that you can't afford to have the little guys that love and put so much passion into their food.
It's because AC is the landlord.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope
it's the landlord, and they want top dollar, and they have ridiculous terms.
Yeah, I just hope the government learns a lot from this, as we are too.
Yeah, no, me too. Absolutely. I think it will definitely change the landscape of things and definitely change the way that we appreciate food. And, I know for one, somebody, I had a thread on Facebook the other day, and they're like, what are you going to do whenever this is over? I'm like, go to everything I'm invited to and stop buying, just want to go out.
I know. Jenna and I were talking about that too, like how we're both single desperately, and every time a guy asks us out or shows interest, we'll find a reason to not like him. And after this, I'm like, I'll go out with all of you. Somebody asked.
Did you hear that? I heard it. Yes. I heard Jesse say that.
Well, maybe not all of you. Like, calm down. Like, I'm getting so many requests. I sound so cool. Yeah, no. Mandi, but what is your go-to quarantine snack? Do you have one that you keep going to? For me, it's melted peanut butter. I eat it like soup.
Yeah, popcorn. But the way I make my popcorn is I melt butter and sriracha sauce together and toss it, so it's sriracha popcorn.
Oh, wow, with the butter.
Yeah.
Butter or margarine?
Always butter. Butter. Gotta be real butter for popcorn.
Who eats margarine?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
A white boy from Canada. That's what I was raised on. My mom would even put, if she were making me like a toast with jam on it, she'd put margarine and then the jam.
Well, butter and jam together is very good, but I don't know about margarine.
But my older sister, Jasmine, who you also know, Mandi, she would, because I was a portly child, she would like yell at me. She'd be like, if you're putting jam, you don't need margarine too. And I was like, yeah, that's how mom raised us. But yeah, so there's a reason I looked the way I did growing up.
Oh, my dad still likes his butter and cheese whiz on toast. Yeah.
But see, wouldn't the cheese whiz it would like overshadow the butter taste.
Oh, the Lunans have lots of delicacies. So my whole family's from Prince Edward County, but they're not the wine people. So they're people who've actually come from Prince Edward County. My aunts like to microwave hot dogs with JD whenever they're drunk. They call it drunken wieners. Yeah, a couple shots of JD over a pack of chopped hot dogs. Microwave for a minute.
Oh, there you go, people. You've got a lot of time on your hands, and we're all drinking right now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mandi, for checking in with us. We just really appreciate it, and we're sending good vibes to everyone in the food industry right now, along with everyone.
Yeah. We're all in this together. I know it sounds silly and cliche, and we're all sick of hearing the hashtag, but that's kind of how we have to treat it. So.
And that is a very good thing to remember when you feel anxious and overwhelmed, is that you're not alone. One of the things I'm stressing out is not being able to go to the gym, and I'm going to get so fat by the end of this, but that's okay because we all will be a little softer. That was one of the things Jenna calmed me down about.
And I've been doing HIIT in my living room every day to try to keep up. So.
I know, but it's not the same, It's like.
I like to swim. I'm with you on that. I love to swim. I've really been missing the pool.
But we're in it together.
We're in this together. We'll all be a little rounder and softer together.
But you know what? Our skin's going to look fabulous because nobody's really wearing makeup and no one's touching their face.
True.
Or going outside in the sun. Yeah.
Well, take care of yourself, Mandi.
Yeah, thanks. You guys too. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Mandi Lunan, love you.
Love you.